Hi, everybody. Welcome to this practice of setting a daily positive intention. So, I'm really glad we're going to try this one out today. And here's how I'd like to proceed as usual. I will first explain how it works, and then after that, you'll have a chance to practice. So, there will be two things you'll need to do to prepare for this. One of them is to do something we tried out right in the beginning when you tried grounding. I'm going to ask you to really sharpen your capacity to notice when you're starting to feel stressed right at the beginning. That will be part of this exercise. Okay. And I'm not asking you to do anything with that right this second, but I want you to know in the back of your mind that that will be something I'll ask you to do. And then the second thing I'd like you to do, and this is a little different, I'd like you to choose a word. What word? Good question. So, the kind of word that I'd like you to choose is a word that is something you care about, something that you value, that is a quality that you would like to bring into your life a little bit more intentionally on a daily basis. So, this would be something, again, I mentioned something you value. So, a value. It could be something like kindness. So just think about, in relationship with other people, what's something I'd like to bring into my life and express a little more readily, from day to day? So kindness might be one example. There are lots of examples. It could be love. It could be patience. It could be humor, integrity, gratitude, compassion, listening. I had someone once say they wanted to think about listening and hearing what someone's saying. Um, so I'm going to give you a moment to think of a word, and you might think of something different later or tomorrow. But right now, for this practice, I'd like you to select a word. And so for right now, I'm going to be quiet while you think about it. So go ahead and decide what word you'd like to use for this practice. And I will give you 30 seconds about. Okay, so now I'm going to explain how the practice works. This is a daily practice. I mentioned that earlier, a daily positive intention setting practice. So, what I'm going to be asking you to do going forward in the future, if you choose to adopt this, is to consider when you wake up in the morning, maybe before you roll out of bed, or maybe just after that. I would like you to say, oh, this is going to be the word, my intention for today. And it could be the same word every day for 3 years. It could be a different word next week, whatever you like. But for starting one day, pick one word, the word you've just chosen. Once you've chosen it, you don't need to do anything with it. It's one of the reasons I like this exercise so much. It's so simple. We don't have to do a lot of stuff. Just know that you've picked your word, you know what it is. Then you go through your day just as you normally would. Mm. You get up in the morning, you've already done that. You have your breakfast if you're a breakfast eater. You do whatever's the next thing. You make breakfast for someone else, maybe for your kids, maybe for your spouse. Um, Maybe you've got something you have to do today, and you're interacting with people all the time. Maybe it's for a person that you're caring for. Maybe it's that you're interacting with a relative or a healthcare worker or an insurance broker. I don't know what it is, but you react, or rather interact with all different people during the day. And here's what your job is. So let's say you're talking with someone in person or on the phone or on Zoom. And as you're talking with them, I want you to notice if anything that comes up in the conversation is making you feel a little bit stressed. Remember, I said that will be part of this practice. So I want you to notice, whoops, I'm starting to feel a little bit stressed, or I'm feeling like my shoulders are getting tense, or my jaw's getting tense, or however you can tell when you're getting stressed. I want you to notice that. And as soon as you notice it, just continue with your conversation. Don't go away. You're still doing what you're in the middle of doing. But I want you to silently remember your word. So I'm in the middle of talking with someone and I'm starting to feel stressed, and I want them to go, oh, patience. I'm not going to say it out loud, right? So silently in my own mind, I'm imagining I'm saying patience. And I'm just remembering the word. I'm not telling myself to do anything. I'm just remembering the word. And when I remember it, I'm going to ask you to do this too. I'm going to ask you, notice if anything changes for you. If your shoulders were getting tense, did they come down a little bit when you remembered your word? Did your facial expression soften? If you were starting to look a little bit angry or upset, did you start to look, okay? Or did your tone of voice change? Or maybe did the next words out of your mouth change? Maybe if they became a little more easy. So this is a practice for you. It's not really trying to change the other person you're talking with, but I think it's very interesting to understand that the other person is now seeing a different version. I always say for myself, they're seeing a better version of me than if I hadn't done that, right? Instead of seeing me that's getting very tense, they see me that's kind of friendly, relaxed, and at ease. And it probably makes them feel more friendly, relaxed, and at ease. Can't promise you that. We can't change the other person. The only person we can change in the room is, guess who? Ourselves. But the lovely thing about this practice is when we do it, we know that regardless of anything else that's happening, we're acting in alignment with what we think's important. We're behaving in the way that we think is the right way to behave, right? And it's a good feeling to know that I'm behaving in a way that's in alignment with my values. I'm being a patient person, or I'm being a humorous person, or whatever it might be. And then there's one more part to this practice. At night, before you go to sleep, could be right before you go to sleep or earlier in the evening, I want you to reflect back on your day. And please look back on your day in very broad brush strokes, because if you go into too much detail, you'll never get to sleep. So think back on your day, and here's what I want you to ask yourself. Oh, did I have a chance to practice my word? Did I or didn't I? And if you did, just go, okay, that would have been a good time to do it. And if you remembered and you did it, you can ask yourself how to go. Was that good? Was that helpful? Or if you forgot, then I would say that's really valuable too, because then you can go, oh, hey, that would have been a good time to practice. I forgot today, but if that same kind of thing happens tomorrow, I'm going to try it tomorrow. So that's the whole thing. That's the intention setting. And what I'd like you to do now is just to imagine that you're doing it. So take a deep breath, and and I said imagine, that's what I meant. Would you, for a moment, please allow your eyes to gently close or your gaze to drop so that you can really go into your imagination and imagine that it's tomorrow morning. You're waking up in the morning. And when you get up in the morning, either before you roll out of bed, or if you know that wouldn't work for me, maybe after you're up, then stop and decide, okay, what's my word going to be for today? That's the setting of the intention. My word's going to be, like for me, I would say patience. That's the one I always need to practice. So I'd say, my word is patience. So do that right now in your imagination. Pick your word, say what your word's going to be silently. So now you know your word. And then just pretend, imagine, what's my day going to be like tomorrow? Let's see. I know I have to get up. I know I have to make breakfast for my partner, and I have to get my partner ready to go to the doctor. Then I have to go in to see the doctor, or maybe you're seeing the doctor on Zoom. Whatever it is that you're needing to remember that you're doing tomorrow. And just pretend and imagine, oh, I'm having this conversation with my partner, and we're getting into a little bit of a tiff or an argument or a disagreement about something, because usually we do when we're doing this activity, like I'm giving him his medicine or whatever it might be. And just pretend, just imagine that you could silently remember your word. Oh, patience. patience. I want to remember my word, patience, and just let it sink in and see. It may not change anything for you, but it may. See if it relaxes you a little bit and allows you to catch your breath instead of getting caught up in a disagreement. Right? Give you a little bit of a choice here, and then let it go. Go through your day, and then at night, imagine that you're thinking back on your day. Did I have a chance to practice this? And you might want to pretend that you had the chance you were just imagining. And then how did it go? How did that work for me? And how do I imagine that this might have impacted my partner? Did he or she act differently because I remembered my word and I relaxed a little into it? So that's the whole practice. And see how it works. Try it out. I always say, try it more than once, try it a couple times, see how it works. And I wish you well with your practice. Thank you for joining me.